Hello and welcome to our real-life science video on energy conversion. Newton's laws. The first law, a car in straight line motion at a constant speed will keep such motion until acted on by an external force. The reason behind this is that a car will be stopped by forces such as friction, a gradual force that forces the car to slow down. Friction on Earth helps us brake and stop as well. If there was no friction on Earth, any object that is propelled would never stop. The second law, when a force is applied to a car, the change in motion is proportional to the force divided by the mass of the car. This law is expressed by the formula F equals ma, where F is force, m is the mass, and a is the acceleration or change in speed. This means that the larger the force exerted, the quicker change in speed. But if a car is heavy, the slower the change in speed and the more force that must be exerted. That is why it is optimal to have cars that are lightweight and exert large amounts of force, as the change in speed will be greater. The third law, every force on a car by another object, such as the ground, is matched by an equal and opposite force on the object by the car. Because of friction, when the brakes are applied, the tires are pushed into the ground, slowing down the car. Downforce. The same principles used for the physics of construction of planes can be applied to aid with downforce of F1 cars. What is downforce? Downforce is when effectively you turn an airplane wing upside down, so it sticks to the ground. Bernoulli's principle is shown down below, where the lower pressure is pushed upwards to create a balanced air pressure, and as a result of this every action must have an equal and opposite reaction. Because of this the wing is pushed down. The two wings found on a Formula One car, front and rear, can produce up to 70% of the car's downforce. Because of this the wing's use becomes quite valuable, and a good front wing can help a team win a race. Drag. The reduction of drag is very important in F1 and often determines how fast a car can go. Every feature of the car, including the driver, is considered into how to reduce and minimize drag on the car. In physics, drag refers to forces which oppose the motion of an object moving with respect to a surrounding fluid. Drag can be calculated with the following equation. Fd is the drag force, is the density of the fluid, v is the speed of the object relative to the fluid, a is the cross-sectional area, cd is the drag coefficient, drs. dr stands for drag reduction system. It's used on straights to increase the top speed of an F1 car. It was introduced in 2011 to promote overtasking. Usually on a track there are two DRS zones on a track. DRS is a flap on the back wing that opens on the straights to reduce drag and can increase the speed of the car by up to 30 km/h. Diffusers. The diffusers are located at the back of the car underneath the chassis. Diffusers help with contact to the ground and drag. Over the years rules have tightened on diffusers due to concerns on the increasing speeds. Because of this they have become smaller, but with the new rule changes of 2020 the ground effect, which uses diffusers to their full potential, will be allowed to reduce polluted air. The diffuser, although uses a similar effect as an airplane wing, uses the Konda effect. The Konda effect is when a fluid hits a curved surface resulting in a change in trajectory of the fluid. With the diffuser, air from underneath the car is sucked out and pushed upwards, keeping the back end of the car firmly on the ground. Above is an example of the Konda effect in our everyday life. Vortex generators. Vortex generators or dive plates are used on F1 cars for drag and downforce. They create spirals of air that can go along the car, filling in the gap between negative and positive air pressure, therefore making the car go faster, as there is less drag on the car, and the car can also go faster through corners, as the positive and negative air pressure are not being sucked into the void between them. Vortex generators also help with brake cooling, as vortex generators on the front wing can direct air towards the tires. Energy recovery system. How does the energy conversion work? Energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but instead continuously converted into energy. Air recharges automatically due to a reel connected to the motor shaft of the car, which acts as an electric generator. What is air? An electric generation, storage, and propulsion system used in Formula One, which generates electricity by scavenging excess power and energy, stores energy in batteries, and boosts acceleration with electric motors assisting the gasoline engine. How is airs used? Unlike the airs, the DRS is a bonus that can be activated at will but must subject to precise rules. Within each track are placed some special points that, once reached, and if the conditions of the race permit, allow you to activate the DRS and get a bit of extra power. The electrical cars uses an electromagnet to transfer the kinetic energy to electric potential energy that is eventually converted to chemical energy that is stored in a battery. Point. To harvest the energy upon braking, the system uses the braking energy to turn a flywheel which acts as the reservoir of this energy. How cost efficient is AIRS? Clinical evidence shows that AIRS has little cost efficiency, as it proposes little efficiency in the long term. Although no one team has ever specified how much an AIRS system costs, the average price for an engine unit including the AIRS package costs $7.5 million. Why is AIRS important? AIRS is important, as it can lead to a much greener future, because it can make electric cars more efficient and give back some of the energy used by the car. An example of similar technique of AIRS in use is thermal conversion in the brakes of Nissan Leafs. When the car's brakes are used, the thermal energy created from the braking is converted into kinetic energy. Though this technology is in the premature stages of development, it could be the way to a greener future. How efficient is AIRS? All kinetic energy created from the turning of the wheel is stored in lithium-ion batteries underneath the chassis where the driver sits. All the batteries together can produce up to 4 megajoules of energy. Managed by special control units that convert the AC power created into DC for storage in the battery. The CARES system harnesses kinetic energy from the rear axle when the car is undergoing braking via an electric motor. This energy is stored in a battery pack and can be reintroduced to the system under acceleration. In 2013, this power unit could deliver up to 60 kilowatts for up to 6.7 seconds in a single lap. In 2014, it is permitted to produce up to an eye-watering 150 kilowatts for 30 seconds. How is thermal energy converted in kinetic energy? The thermal energy of an object can be created or increased by chemical and nuclear reactions, as well as electrical effects. Each releases or transfers energy that cause an object's internal particles to increase their motion and thus their kinetic energy. In F1 cars, the thermal energy from the brake discs are converted into kinetic energy which is stored in the batteries underneath the chassis. Thanks for watching.